yourself living in a country divided on racial lines. Imagine yourself living in a country where you are treated as a second-class citizen. Imagine yourself living in a country where your life is worse than a mongrel dog. Imagine yourself living in a country where you find state-sponsored violence tried against fellow men. You being traumatized, you being victimized for no reason of yours. Imagine living in a country where women of your folk are molested, murdered, and raped at own will. Imagine that you decide to raise your voice against the system. Imagine that you are captured, tried, and imprisoned. Imagine that for the next 27 years, you spend your life in an 8-foot by 7-foot barrack. Imagine that you do not lose hope. Imagine that in one fair, contested election, you go on to become the president of that country. What would you do? Good evening, guests and fellow Toastmasters. The president of a country. For 50 years, this country has suffered in apartheid, with worst possible crimes committed to one and all. Country where there are different bus stops, different buses, ambulances, colleges for you and other racial folks. What do you do? Do you A. Seek revenge? Seek time to give back to those who are your tormentors? Do you become a victim of that hatred? Do you lose the larger picture? Do you force the country to run anarchy? Do you force the chaos to lead supreme? Do you ensure that the rights of that country are victimized, vandalized, and violated in every nook and corner? Or do you look in at the larger picture? Allow an era of peace and prosperity. Look forward to forgive. Look forward with a broader vision for development of your fellow country members. Look forward to ensure an era of liberty, equality, and fraternity. What would you do? If you ask me, I would like to be the second person. Yes, easier said than done, but that's the kind of a leader I would like to be. In 1994, a black lawyer actually went on to become the president of a same country. Today we call that country as Republic of South Africa. In 1994, this lawyer went on to become the president and ensure that the country moved ahead. That he prevented violence being tortured, being put on the streets. That he ensured that peace was the fundamental right of everybody. That there was an economic growth. That there was no stagnation. That there was no banana republic being created. He ensured that one and all, whites, blacks, coolies, or browns, had the same right over their own country. To serve people, to seek the broader vision, to seek what is there in longer times ahead and not fall to the trap of personal glorification. That to me is the kind of a leader I would like to be. Well, there's a term for such leaders. Such leaders are called servant leaders. Confusing term, right? Servant leader. You can either be a servant or be a leader, right? Probably serving and leading cannot exist at the same time. But then, that's where comes an alternate form of leadership. Being a servant leader. A leader who believes in the growth of his fellow co-workers before his own growth. A leader who believes in the development rather than his own material benefits. A leader who does not believe in power being centralized, but in power being distributed to one and all. That's the kind of a leader I would like to be. You, me, everybody. We would have to become a leader in each and his or her life. Without a doubt. He might be a leader in sales for an entire region. He might be a leader in an MNC. He might be a leader making his children become a better person. He might be a leader becoming a principal or a dean of school or college. He might be a leader in any given field of his life, but he will have to become a leader. The question for you is simple. What kind of leader would you like to be? That lawyer in 94 was famously called as Batista. We know him as Nelson Mandela. Mandela lost his left eye while being in prison, but he did not lose his vision. I urge you now to think back on what kind of a leader you want to be. For trust me, today's actions of yours as a leader will determine what society you would form. And tomorrow's generation will judge you on the kind of leader you became. You and only you will determine how a leader should be. It's your choice. For me, the choice is clear. Be a servant leader. A leader who's willing to serve rather than to rule. In terms of Lao Tzu, the famous Chinese philosopher in 450 BC, China, said, "The best leader is the one whose presence is not even felt by his followers. Next comes those whom they love and praise. Next comes those whom they fear. And next comes those whom they defy and despise." That for me is the biggest example of how a servant leader should be. His presence should not be felt by his followers. I would love to be. This is a world that we have inherited, and it's a legacy upon us to pass it on to the next generation. I am sure that I would like to be a servant leader, and I'm sure that each one of us can take that right step to make this world a better place to be in. Won't we?